So, Ruatara left New Zealand on a whaling ship called Argo at around the age of 18. For the next 4 years, he would work on vessels, various whaling vessels, sometimes being treated well, but was often cheated and abandoned by ship's masters and suffered starving and beatings. In 1809, Samuel Marsden was returning to Australia by the end, a convict vessel. When he discovered Rutata he was ill and neglected, vomiting blood. Marsden ensured Rutata was cared for and supplied with clothes, invited him to his home at Parramatta. Upon reaching Port Jackson in Sydney, Australia, where he spent 8 months. It was here with Marsden that Ruatara developed a plan to introduce wheat to his people as a valued food source and an export crop. Although not recorded, we can imagine that it was during this time that Marsden first talked to Ruatara about his vision to bring the Christian gospel to Aotearoa, New Zealand. It is also here that Ruatara studied European agriculture techniques, carpentry and other skills. He then left on a whaling ship, Frederick, with tools and quantity of seaweed. Sadly, he was again cheated and abandoned, this time on Norfolk Island. Rutata was rescued and returned to Port Jackson and did not finally reach home until about 1812. Upon returning to his land, Rutata became the successor of the Tipuna and Ringaroa mana because they had been killed by European whalers. At the time of his succession, Rutata's position was still open to challenge. He was young, and although his supplies of tools, clothes and weapons brought in mana, his stories of foreign places provoked doubt. Rutata had also distributed seaweed, but many refused to believe in its value due to the familiarity with root crops. It was not until 1814 that he had a crop that allowed him to prove wheat could provide bread and biscuits. It was in the same year that Thomas Kendall and others arrived on behalf of Marsden to consult with Rutata about setting up a church society mission. Marsden sent Rutata gifts that included a hand-powered flour mill, from which Rutata was at last able to convince the fellow chiefs of the value of wheat. Rutata accompanied Marsden's ship active when it returned to Port Jackson. Despite the concern of his whānau, he returned again to Parramatta, studying European agriculture techniques and acquiring more tools and weapons. As he prepared to leave, he was given a ma, a cow, and other livestock by the government of New South Wales. The time Ruatara was not leaving the Bay of Islands in New Zealand alone. Marsden's vision of a CMS mission was coming to fruition. Rutata returned to the Bay of Islands on the 22nd of December 1814 with the first CMS missionaries, Thomas Kendall, John King, and William Hall, as well as Samuel Marsden. Ruatara's conduct was remarkable. He risked his own mana to help the missionaries establish friendly relations, not just with his own people, but with people throughout North Cape and Whangaora. In addition, Rutata helped missionaries build houses at Rangaroa and left it to be known that they were living under his mana and under his protection. He even escorted Marsden to the place is there. It's a place. At some risk to himself. Mana is the power and authority that allows people to achieve their goals in life. Each of us are born with it, can build it through achievements and success, and can be bestowed upon by the recognition of others. For chiefs, including Rutata, Mana was a precious community product to be enhanced so as to pass it on to his descendants. For Rutata to expend his mana in support of his newfound but powerful God was a risk, perhaps a calculated risk, but a risk nevertheless. To take that risk indicated that Rutata was convinced that the message of the gospel brought something new and beneficial to his whānau One of Ruatara's first acts was to translate Marsden's first sermon on Oihi Bay. During Marsden's sermon, Ruatara's people complained that they couldn't understand his words, to which Rutara replied they were not to mind that for now, for they would understand by and by, and that he would explain Marsden's meaning as far as he could. It was presumed by Marsden that the rousing haka at the conclusion of Rutara's translation was for him, but whose sermon was it? The haka was in support of the precious speaker Rutara. Nevertheless, armed with new knowledge, skills, and resources, Rutara worked tirelessly for his people, prosperity. He planned new wheat cultivations, some as far as 60 kilometres from Rangawa. He planned at European-style town, marked out the ground on a hill near Tipuna. He interrupted his activities to help the missionaries, for example, building an enclosure himself so that the Christmas service could be celebrated on the beach.